I
because
think it was
all we
natural, right?
yeah, like because yeah, and I
Because
think
men are naturally stronger than women.
exactly
Physically.
no,
So
and yeah,
so
and I have to admit,
I'm not gonna lie
naturally
to you.
they
Like
are.
women back in the day, they weren't complaining that no, we also want to go hunting. Like
Exactly. We
like,
want to go to the war.
they were like, nah,
yeah.
okay, you guys, go fight the wars.
I
Go
think it
do the
was
hunting.
more. I think it was more when we were being treated like in a way that like, okay, but that's the only thing that you can do. That's when the problem began. Do you know what I mean? But like you said, I think it was natural at the beginning of like how
It's just sharing responsibilities.
exactly
Makes sense. It's more efficient.
Exactly, that's the right word to use.
Yeah.
Sharing responsibility, and like with that, right? Like I think that's now sadly when men just became like super bad and evil and like cruel and
Men became evil.
Yeah.
At what point did they become evil?
When they just
I totally
kinda
disagree with
started
that.
misusing their power, becoming
How?
greedy, and like misusing us and our bodies and like sexism and like all of that stuff. But I'm not saying that those qualities did not live within women. That's not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is that unfortunately for us, we got the bad end of the stick in
How?
terms of.
I don't think so.
Okay, why don't you think so? And then I will.
No, you
answer.
need to
No,
tell
no,
me.
no, no,
You need to
no.
tell me why you got the bit
Okay.
end of the stick. Yeah.
The reason I'm saying that, right, is because I
Short
think
end.
that like men started doing things that had more, I guess you could title as power, right? So stronger things that were more dominant, things that were more, so fighting, guns, making big decisions for the family. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
simple things like that. And I think that through those little acts in history and like in society, men kind of started to grow this godlike,
So you don't think it was there initially? I think it was there initially.
Do you think it was there
Yeah, for
initially?
sure.
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I can't honestly that particularly. I don't
Because
know.
you need to ask yourself why it became like that, right? In the
Yeah.
in the first place,
Yeah.
right? Like why that was the natural
The
course
way
of
that
things.
if I honestly had to ask that question of why it became like that is because I think that just like how we were saying earlier, right? Like men are good at certain things, right? And interestingly enough, men are good at the things that seem to be, stronger or like the more valued characteristics, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And for me, in my mind, logically, I think that that's where I think that's where the ego really, really grew. And like, that's where it was like, okay, we have this power or where we can do this. So let's take advantage of it. Do you know what I mean?
I absolutely know what you mean. Yeah.
And then like, you know how it is like with power, like once you realize how strong you are and you realize how like inferior everyone else is, you're like, okay, let me use this power to like manipulate people in order for them to think that they're not better, so that there's no resistance and there's no rebellion. And I think that's how like little manipulation started, like emotional manipulation, like, you know what I mean, like this is what you're meant to do, and then that's I think when like abuse started, like it just started getting really bad.
The thing is, I think like what you're saying in terms of like men using their power or whatever. I think that was actually worse when it started
100%.
compared to now.
No, 100%.
So I think it's actually dialed down now.
I agree.
Right?
No,
So
I agree. Yeah.
So I don't think it was like a point and then like it became worse and then we realized we had power. And I think it's actually like it started off like real like extreme and then now it's getting a bit better.
Do you know how I feel like it started off? I feel like it started off natural, and then
It's
you guys
natural,
realized
yes.
you guys realized your power, and then it became extreme. Just like how like you discover like drugs and like you know what I mean, and like alcohol, and you love it, and you're like, oh, this is so
Yeah.
good. Like I'm gonna ingest this for such a long time, and then
Yes.
eventually you realize like, wait, this is not good for you, and this is really bad, and this is hurting a lot of people, and you're like, let me slow down.
Yeah.
And relax. Yeah, and I really think, I think that that's how it went for your